What's your favorite part of each of your characters, she asked?
Oh, of each of our characters, so what would be the favorite episode, or you're just saying voiceovers in general? In general?
Like, are you talking about for Sailor Moon, though? So what part of playing Ray did you love?
Well, I loved everything to do with Chad. I thought was hilarious. I thought that it was just really funny. Poor Chad. But also, revisiting the series, I loved the fighting between Serena and Ray, and there was one scene, in fact I think there were a lot of scenes, and I can actually picture their faces with furrowed brows, and they were giving raspberries with their tongues hanging out and like beads of sweat. It was just, or saliva, maybe it was just spit flying out of their faces, but they're looking at each other. And then, you know, just to digress for a second, they were sisters. They were so close. They were like the bestest of friends, I feel like. So all the fighting, even though it always seemed like Ray was hostile, mostly I think that they were just super close, but I loved any type of aggression they had toward one another, because it was hilarious. Although it was hard to do the raspberry for 25 seconds. As I spit in the microphone for Susan. There you go.
That's good. Actually try that. You know, you can try it here right now if you like, or when you're in the privacy of your own room. Try to do a raspberry for 25 seconds. It's not easy. You run out of air, you run out of spit, you run out of motivation. It just sinks inside and sorry, what is
I'm just going to add to that for 1 second too, because not only but because I am who I am and I get terrified, doing just a raspberry it starts to sound like farting. So if you'd watch it, because it went on forever, I'd start to make sounds so that it didn't sound like farting, so it'd be like, you know, just to make sure that everybody knew I wasn't farting.
Are you in the room beside me?
I was probably the opposite, probably making the farting noise.
Yeah, and she was really farting. It was like,
You know, so many sounds sound like farting. It's just, what are you going to do? It's just sort of part of life. But it is really funny to see some of the things that go up on that screen that you have to try to make a sound effect for. And a raspberry.
Sorry.
I'm still recovering from a cold I got from my last convention, sorry. I'll just pass it on to Mr. Jones.
What did I do? Anyways, I think we're almost done here, guys. Yeah? Is it? 4 minutes. Is there any last questions that you want to ask us? Yes?
I had a question for Susan, because she wants to know how she was in the first round of auditions for Sailor Moon. I was wondering what voice of yours did you choose to try to use when you did the audition? Like, what did you sound like? Did you pick something out?
For Sailor Moon?
Yeah, when you tried to do the audition.
Well, whatever I did, it obviously wasn't good enough. So I think what I did was I just did kind of my normal voice, but not quite as husky. So I would have done something like, I don't know, this is a lot of years ago. Well, you see, you know what? It's always going to end up sounding like Jupiter. There's just, okay, let me see. I'll try and get the rasp out of my voice. Okay. Well, Ray, I was thinking that perhaps, no, I'm just going to end up sounding like Jupes. I'm just Jupes. What am I going to say? I'm just Jupes.
she signs her emails that way. We all do now. Our little email thing.
Yeah, Jupes. So one thing that you're asking about, like the favorite things, one of the things that I noticed immediately was how every actress playing a Sailor Scout actually physically resembled a Sailor Scout. Katie, back in the day, had this long, dark hair. She looked exactly like Mars. When she'd walk into the studio, you'd know immediately that it was her. And in those days I had longer hair, it was brown, and I used to wear it in a ponytail. So we actually have there's a picture of the two of us after we had recorded one day, and I said, that's really eerie. Look how much we look like the characters.
I know, and I'm so tall, dark, and handsome.
And there you go. And of course, Toby is, an exact replica replica of Tuxedo Mask in every way, shape, or form, but he disguises it when he comes to conventions. So that's why he looks the way he does.
That's how I navigate through the crowds.
That's how you navigate. And also, Stephanie Morgenstern, who played Venus, has very, very authentically blonde hair. It wasn't quite as long as Sailor Venus's at the time, but that was her hair. And Karen, who plays Mercury, was a very petite, dark-haired girl. It was amazing how everybody resembled their character.
And that's why they had to get rid of Terry, because she didn't have legs that didn't stop, right? So I had to, like, I had a rocking body. It's worth a try. She had twins, what am I saying?
No, I know you did.
So,
So humble.
just as a reminder, we have an autograph session coming up just outside. If anybody would like to come by and get an autograph, we'd love to say hi to you. And it's, as I say, just outside the doors. And I think, is that going to be our last question, or is somebody going to finish it
Tons
off?
of posters and pictures too.
Just, should we go with one last quick one? How about that? Okay.
Hey, I wanted to know, like, are you guys still surprised about how long Sailor Moon has had this following? Because again, when it came out, anime was not this big, and there was a lot of stuff that was. I mean, I remember at the time talking to my friends. I mean, they were all talking about like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Dragon Ball Z, but yet when I met, said like, what about Sailor Moon kind of thing, you know? But again, seeing what started out there, I mean, are you guys still seeing like, because like again,
Well,
most actors when they go in and they do an audition, they just say, oh, we're just doing it for a show, but not realizing that you'll continue on.
Yeah, I think we all have similar, I mean, we'll kind of give you a chime in and tell you our own personal things. Just for me, quickly, the fact that we're talking 20 years later is unbelievable. That to me looks, that it makes it, tells me that it's stood the test of time, because it's now ingrained in pop culture, which is a rare thing to have happen to anybody in our position. And just to have something that has gone this long, because basically the people who watched it first off are now having children, and now we see younger kids, and I'm like, what? How do they, like, and so there's like this layer cake of an audience now, and that's my experience, or my understanding of it, and I couldn't be more grateful, because without any of this, I would be stripping.
And when it hit home to me, I mean, we knew, you know, throughout the years, we knew there would be Sailor Moon fans for sure, and tons of merchandising. We did Fan Expo in Toronto last year, and the amount of people that showed up for Sailor Moon, I mean, we kicked some serious ass at that con. There were 60,000 people there, and I'm telling you, we had a massive lineup going around the, well, not outside the building, but within the building. We just couldn't believe it. The panel room was huge, and we had the entire audience, someone started it, sing the theme song. And I have it on my phone, and I played it for my kids because they don't care. They're 7, they don't care about
Yeah, but
anything.
they actually turned away 1,500 people from that.
They turned away so many people, and that's when you just sit there and say, oh, wow, this is massive. The following is insane for Sailor Moon, and the hardcore fans, I mean, it's mind-blowing.
And here we are right now in North Carolina. We're from Toronto, we're from Canada. And we can go all over. We have been traveling all over North America. We may be going to Australia. There's been interest in England and Dubai. Like what? What is that? I want to go skiing there for sure if we go. But yeah, so it's been extremely overwhelming, and we go to these things, and you know, all the fans are out there, and they're so excited to meet us, and we're so excited to meet them too, because we're just like, I can't believe you're here. Like, they'll be like, I can't believe you're my childhood. I'm like, you're my adulthood. Like, you're making my life right now. This is awesome. And you just don't get that as a voice actor. You're just in front of a microphone. So we're gonna stop now at that happy note.